You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Brian Kelly on Monday met with reporters, and it was interesting because the tone, the tenor of the conversation wasn't so much about the blocking, the tackling, the throwing, the catching, the personnel. It was more, it felt like the conversation was more about the message, the general feel overall of the program. Brian Kelly started the press conference before he even answered a question with this.
From an entire team standpoint, to win games like that, you have to understand habits have a lot to do with it. Winning's a habit and losing's a habit. And if you have losing habits, you can't win those games. This group has the right habits. Now we have to be able to clean up the things technically. And they really come down to three things. Personnel, the coaching of the schemes themselves. Are we in the right schemes for our players? And then the preparation.
I bring that up because there was a piece today at CBS Sports. John Talty, who John's a good guy. He's come on the show before. He worked at AL.com. He's now with CBS Sports. Does a good job. John wrote in his piece about the LSU South Carolina game, and I'll read this line. This is the line that's gotten a lot of attention today. A lot of people have sent me this. John wrote, multiple industry sources familiar with LSU, whatever that means, told CBS Sports on Saturday they believe the on-field issues are a result of a disconnect between Kelly and his LSU players, with his personality and style not resonating as well in Baton Rouge as it did in South Bend. So first, I like John a lot. I think John does a very good job. John just published a book on with Armin Katayan about Nick Saban, his career. I mean, he's very well respected. I mean, he's a best-selling author now, and John's very well respected. I have a little bit of an issue with running that line, and it's not to say that whoever John's speaking to is incredible, but it's more to say that that's so vague. And it actually is it's contrary to what Brian Kelly's saying and really what we're seeing. Did LSU allow a 75-yard touchdown run and a 66-yard touchdown run because the culture is bad? Because LSU players, like Brian Kelly's style isn't resonating? Or are they not that good on the defensive line? I don't know. Time will tell. And Kelly on Monday also went further about, and he really got into some detail here about how close he thinks they are to being really good.
Do we want to play cleaner? Yes. But at the end of the day, that was a good South Carolina football team. That was a good defense. We scored 36 points, and I think everybody watched the game. We didn't score inside the 5 twice. You just score those 2 touchdowns, which are, I think, an 87 or 88% chance of scoring touchdowns in that area. That's 50 points. So we're not that far off. And if we make the 2 plays that we should make, just, being fundamentally sound on the 2 run plays, we're going to give up less than 250 yards in total offense. So we're really close. And I'm not here to make you guys feel better. You guys are going to evaluate it and write the way you write it. But I know what we see, and I know how we feel about what we need to do.
I mean, in one vein, he's not wrong, right? You had 2 goal-to-go possessions, one right there at the start of the second half, where you came up empty. If you score 50. Okay, but you didn't, right? You also didn't score in your opening drive in, as he calls it, the blue zone inside the 5-yard line in the opening game of the season, again, opening drive of the season against Southern Cal. So if you didn't, if we don't allow the 2 long runs, but you did, and you allowed the long run against Nichols as well, where I look at that and I go, that's clearly a symptom of your defense, where I think overall you've been pretty good against the run. Overall, you've stopped what was your Achilles heel a year ago, which was getting absolutely gutted in the secondary. Like, you're not seeing receivers running free, defensive backs with their hands in the air. They have very clearly in the secondary simplified to prevent the 15-yard catch from becoming the 50-yard touchdown. What they haven't figured out right now is how to prevent that single wing play from going 75 yards or 67 yards or 66 yards. Yeah, fix that, and you allow less than 250 yards total offense. Yeah, but that's become a symptom of what you are. My question would be, to the point of the piece at CBS, where that suggestion is Brian Kelly's message isn't taking hold with this group the way that it did in South Bend, which I don't know. I fundamentally disagree with that. I mean, I'm around this team and this program a lot, as much as anybody, and I don't get that sense. I mean, I covered the 2020 and 2021 teams. There was a total disconnect at the end of Ogeron. This isn't a me going off on Ogeron thing. It's not that. It is just, that is a thing that happened. It started with the BLM march. It didn't start there, but that was part of it. And the disconnect with the coaching staff, clearly in recruiting. The disconnect with the staff, like the stories you would hear about Bo Pelini being the 8 o'clock meet, and he's just speeding over the train tracks on Skip Burtman Drive at 7:59 to get there. Last one in, first one out. There was a lot wrong with the program then. Like, I don't hear any of that now. Like, literally none of that. So my contention is where they are now. It's not flawless. I think Brian Kelly's made some mistakes. His giant mistake was not retaining Corey Raymond, not retaining Greg McMahon, bringing in Polian to be your recruiting court. Like, those were his gigantic mistakes at the onset. Massive mistakes that set you back. But I think he's fixed them. And look at the 2025 recruiting class, which is coming in. And then look at what can be in 2026 with the bumper crop in Louisiana. What you're missing right now are players defensively. I mean, I don't know that anybody would disagree with that assumption. For this season, the big question is, how much more can you maximize the guys you have on this roster? How much can you squeeze that orange to get every drop of juice, every drop of ability out of this team defensively? And I don't know the answer to that. I'll be interested to see how it finds out. I think offensively, you're going to keep getting better. Looks like you found something in Caden Durham. You're going to get Chris Hilton back healthy. Like, there's a lot to like in this offense, and they're going to keep scoring points and being really good offense. I mean, they put up 400 yards of offense after getting 7 yards in the first quarter. They were awesome after that first quarter offensively. The interception notwithstanding, but anyway. I just don't know that I agree. I just have a fundamental disagreement with what John wrote there and wherever he's getting that information. But it is something worth watching as you move throughout the remainder of this season and beyond. But as I'll continue to say, for better or worse, like, financially, LSU is bound to Brian Kelly for a decade because you're not buying out that deal. So you got to figure out a way to make it work. You know, a way to make it work? Get better players. Looks like that's going to happen. Cavalry's on the way. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.